The Sinsinawa Dominican congregation eventually expanded in members and in its ministry of education.
We have 4 essential pieces of Dominican life: prayer, ministry, community, and study. Any Dominican house, you will notice that we all kind of have our own library. We are a collector of books. And the study is never just for us to be hoarded. Study is so that we can utilize the study and share it with others.
In Father Samuel's time, women's education was minimal. Father Samuel's vision is that these women should be educated to the highest level, and no subject was unfit for a young woman. Education was everything. They taught during the day and he taught them at night. He brought in people to teach them. It was all about that mission.
The students had a phenomenal curriculum for the time: music and art. They learned stitchery and they can play the harp and the piano. Theology, biblical studies, history, kind of what you would expect of a good, strong liberal arts education. What's distinctive was emphasis on the sciences. He ordered some instruments for experimentation from New York, plus he made his own. There's this wonderful statue at Dominican University where he has the sister and a student in the telescope looking out. Those who seek justice will see the stars. There were newspaper articles about the hazards of teaching women the sciences like chemistry and biology and physics, because women would have nervous breakdowns if they studied those, or possibly could never become pregnant. Honest to God, it was in the newspaper. I read the newspaper articles. Not everyone believed that, obviously, but that's a very avant-garde to have such a strong scientific education for the young women.
On one hand, an advocate for the sisters, but not somebody who interfered in their decision-making and that really respected their autonomy. He had them get incorporated as a civil corporation very early in their existence. He wasn't a member of that corporation. They wanted to put men's names, and he insisted that these would be the names of the people on the corporation.
He knew every mover and shaker just because of his own reputation. He knew Doty and Dousman and Jones. He also knew William and James Ryan, who were real estate business people from Galena. The friars here sold the mound to William Ryan. This was investment property. They knew Father Samuel, they knew the sisters, until after Father Samuel's death. Father Samuel always said the mound was home, and he always envisioned everyone coming back to Sinsinawa Mound. So with that in mind, Mother Regina Mulqueeny, who was all of 26, and Sister Emily, 22, came to visit Ryan to ask him if they could buy the mound back. And they had scraped together enough for a down payment. They went in to see him. Mrs. Ryan went to get tea or something. When she came out, they were already putting on their mantles and in tears. And she said, "What happened?" Mother Regina said, "He said no." Mrs. Ryan said, "That's no way to treat Father Samuel's sisters." And she persuaded her husband to change his mind.
Thus continuing remarkable growth for the congregation under the eventual watch of one of the sisters present at that pivotal meeting, Mother Emily Power.
Mother Emily's entire education was the school in Benton. Father Samuel met her when she was a little girl. So she had him as a teacher, a pastor, a mentor. His vision of what school was Mother Emily's. She was very gifted academically. They gave her a lot of responsibility, even while she was a student. When Regina died, Emily was the next person elected. Now, she was one of the youngest in the community. Her own blood sisters were older and more experienced than she was, but the congregation elected Emily as prioress, which tells you something.
She must have been very intelligent to navigate an expanding congregation. She was greatly committed to find opportunities for learning that weren't necessarily the formalized classroom. She really made it possible and encouraged sisters to participate in the Columbian exhibition, the World's Fair in Chicago.
We know other congregations were forbidden to go to the World's Fair because it was so secular and they shouldn't be seeing what they were going to be seeing. Whereas the Sinsinawa sisters, go, think of what you'll learn. I mean, that was her attitude. She sent sisters all over the country to study.
Places in Chicago, places in Milwaukee, places in New York, places in Denver, a lot of faraway places. Those moves were the big breaks from an exclusively Wisconsin-based ministry. Our sisters tried to go to as many places and respond to as many places as possible. She understood that was an educational opportunity and that they'd see new things.
However, with new opportunities come new challenges and dangers. But Mother Emily and her sisters were equipped to handle them.
Oh, Mother Emily, we have a little pearl-handled derringer. We know it's hers, her name is on it. A friend, possibly an alum, felt she should have this for her protection.
Basically, for travel in the wild, wild west. I never heard a story about it being used.
People loved her. She was Irish, she was witty, she had a sense of humor, and she was reelected until she died while in office. Now, on her council was Sister Samuel Coughlin from Faribault. She was asked to finish Mother Emily's term. Sister Samuel became Mother Samuel and was reelected for another 39 years, so she served 40. So we're facing 175 years. For 82 of those two women were in leadership.
People kept reelecting these people. And they served much beyond their terms. They were kind of like dynasties. She faced all of these demands that were increasing. Sisters in schools, all of the needs to keep educating sisters. She built a university during the Depression. How people did these things is kind of hard to get your mind around, really.
Mother Samuel, who also had the same education as Mother Emily, had a sense of a need to look at the big picture. She started all of our sisters studying in Europe, opened our villa for skilled nursing care for our sisters. She was given an honorary doctorate by Loyola for her contribution to Catholic education. And it continued. It kept growing and growing, as did the congregation.